right, we're going to learn how to name an angle today. So we've learned about naming segments and lines, and naming angles isn't all that different. So basically an angle is just two rays connected by a common endpoint. So here's two rays, see how they go on forever in one direction, but they're connected by a common endpoint. We call this endpoint here the vertex. And when we're naming an angle, it's going to usually go through 3 points. First you have the vertex, let's call that X. Then you have the point that this ray goes through, so let's call that Z. And this ray goes through Y. So we have ray XY and ray XZ, and they meet at the common endpoint of X, and that's called our vertex. So when we name this angle, we have a couple options. If this happens to be the only angle that has X as a vertex, and there's no other angles that have X as a vertex in our drawing, then we can just say that this is angle X. Pretty simple. However, there's most of the time you have an extra ray in here, and you will see that more often than not your vertex has more than one angle attached to it. In fact, now there are 3 different angles that could be considered angle X. There's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's the whole one. So in this case, we're going to need to use 3 points to name our angle, just like we did planes. So you always need 3 points to name your angle. So when you're naming the angle, you want to start at one of the rays. So you start here, and then you walk on the angle and do not lift up your pen. So you go straight, don't lift up your pen. So we start with Z, and we go down here, X, V. That's the order we're going to write them in. We're going to say angle Z, X, V. Okay, now if we want to name this angle, we start here at V, and we walk. Again, we do not lift up our pen. V, X, Y. So that's angle V, X, Y. You could start here and go this way. Just again, do not lift up your pen. So start here and walk along the angle all the way to the vertex and then to the third point. Now what if we want to name this huge angle? Well, we can start here and again, not lift up our pen. Actually, let's start here. We'll start here and we won't lift up our pen. So now we have Y, X, Z. So that angle could be Y, X, Z. So that's how you name an angle. Again, you need 3 points, and unless your vertex happens to not be shared, and then you can just name it with just the vertex.